This is the Nami Klima Max, and today we're taking it out for a joyride here in Queens, New York. I want to talk to you about the 750 mile updated review of this scooter. So if you've ever been curious to see what it's like to own a beast scooter or a high performance scooter like the Nami Klima Max over a long duration of time, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. It's good to have you on board today. What's going on, everyone? This is Ivan and welcome back to the Ivan Rides YouTube channel. Before we get started on this review, I just want to remind everybody that I am affiliated with Fluid Free Rides for scooters, Beyond Riders for body armor, Shredlights for PEV lighting, and Insta360 for action cameras. So if you want to support the channel at no additional cost to you, feel free to use any one of the links that I have down below. Sometimes you'll even be able to save a few dollars, so keep an eye out for those discount codes. And like I said, the link will be in the description of all my videos, as well as pinned as the first comment. Now, with that out the way, let me go over how this video is going to be broken down. It will have 4 sections. Section 1 is going to be things that I've done to the scooter and the cost of ownership over the first 750 miles. Section 2 is going to be things that I've liked. Section 3 is things that I didn't like. And Section 4 is my final thoughts on the scooter. So if you want to watch the full video, you are more than welcome to, but those chapters should help you navigate to your section, the one that you're most interested in seeing. So the chapters will be down below. So let's talk about part 1. What type of maintenance did I have to do with the scooter and how much did it cost me? The first bit of maintenance that I had to do was at around 500 miles, and that was another brake sensor change. If you watch the first video, you'll know that I did make changes to the brake sensors at about 75 miles. That's because I started having the brake sensor lockup issue, and unfortunately it did resurface at around 500 or so miles. I'll cover this a little bit more in the section where I mentioned things that I don't like, because honestly it's quite irritating. The second and third costs happened at the same time. At around 600 miles, I brought the scooter in for a checkup, and while they were at it, I told Ed, I was just like, just change the brakes. He did inspect the brakes, and he said at 600 miles, the way I ride, there would probably be another 200 to 250 miles of padding left on the brakes. But since he had the scooter, I told him just change it out. So estimate for the brake pads is about 850 miles of, I would say, moderately aggressive riding through the city. At that time, I also had him do the checkup on the scooter, and the checkup was more to see if there was any kind of damage from riding, because I do ride in every possible condition, and this past winter has been extra wet here and extra salty. So I just wanted to make sure that there was nothing mechanically wrong with the scooter. That was about a month ago, and that service took about a week because I had to drop off the scooter, and it cost me a little under $100 to have all that work changed. And then that's, of course, that's $100 plus a little tip, because you know we take care of our guys at Fluid Free Ride. And pretty much that was it. With the maintenance section out the way, we can move on to things that I've liked about the scooter. And the first thing that really comes to mind for me is the reliability of the scooter, which is, you know, when you spend $2,000 plus $2,800 on a scooter, you want it to be able to kind of do everything. And that's pretty much exactly what's happened with this scooter. I've been able to ride it through the rain. I've been able to ride it through the snow, through slush, and through a lot of salt. And the scooter is so reliable that it's become my daily commuter. And on top of all the weather conditions that I ride through here in New York, I do ride on some pretty terrible roads, so the scooter has held up amazingly well. No issues with the shocks, no issues with the electricals, and no issues with anything else. The scooter has basically tanked everything that the city could throw at it, and I'm extremely pleased with the durability and the reliability of the scooter. So that's why that is number one there on my list. The next thing that I really enjoyed a lot with the scooter is the range. 30 amp hours does not sound like a lot, but with the way I ride and the type of commuting that I do, it's been plenty. If I'm doing a longer route for a video or something, I would probably be charging like every other day. But if I'm doing, let's just say, my standard commute, which is about 10 miles, you see me charging about every 4 days or so. Just keep in mind when I do say that I ride primarily in C or X modes. C is my custom commute setting, and X is my max out setting. And in those settings, I don't really turn turbo on, because turbo, regardless of what setting you're on, does eat up a lot of battery, and I don't really run that often. But like I said, I am very happy with the kind of performance that I've gotten so far from the scooter while running C and X modes. I would say 90% of the time. And the next thing that I really enjoyed is the stock settings for the scooter, as far as the suspension and the tires. The more far removed I get from the Nami Burn E, the more I'm appreciating how comfortable the Nami Klima is. Like, these suspensions that are on this scooter, it does an incredible job of making a lot of the major bumps here in New York City extremely comfortable. The 10-inch tires, the stock CST, normally I'm the first person to complain about the stiffness and the hardness of the tires, but I'm really pleased with these CST tires. I run them usually at about 47 PSI, and they give me a good balance of range, and they give me a good balance of grip and comfort as well. The thing to note here is, though, these tires are actually really incredible, because I feel like I could ride these things for another 3,000 to 4,000 more miles, and I'd be perfectly okay with them. Like, if you look at the condition here in this photo that I'm going to put up, they look basically brand new. And the best thing about the tires so far is they've prevented any type of rim breaking or rim shattering that I would have experienced on the PMT tires that were, for example, on the Burn E. Like, on the Burn E, within the first 1,000 miles, I believe I broke my rim twice, because you run them at a softer PSI in order to get that softer ride, but then you run the risk of hitting a pothole and then shattering. But so far with the stock setup, no problems with that. I've crashed into a few heavy duty potholes, and honestly have not even seen any type of dent on the rim. And honestly, once you get used to the stock tire and the suspension, the ride is, it's quite plush. Like, it's very, very, very comfortable. So quite happy to report that. And As far as also comfort, I've been able to learn how to make a stance switch midway through the ride, so it makes it much easier for me to do longer rides, because now I can, as you can see here, do a ride stance switch comfortably and easily, as long as I'm mindful of my foot placement. You don't necessarily want to fall off your scooter while doing a stance switch, but you also don't want to sometimes wait until there's a traffic stop, because sometimes you may not encounter a light for quite a while. And the next thing that I really liked over the last 750 miles is I've been able to really kind of improve my quality of life at my apartment building because of the size. So the size of the scooter allows it to be more like a sleeper scooter. Like, everyone just assumes that it's going to be another, I would say, commuter scooter, and there's nothing really to worry about. While, for example, the Burn E was really attracting all kinds of attention that I honestly didn't really want. So with the combination of the smaller form factor and the turning radius, it's also improved my life at work a little bit. We have a new bike room in the office, and we don't have as much space as we used to. So it's much more difficult to navigate the hallways that lead up to the bike room, and it's also much more difficult to navigate the bike room itself. Turning is a premium, so lifting the front end of the scooter or lifting the back end of the scooter to get it into position is much easier with a smaller, lighter scooter than it would have been on the Burn E. At this point, honestly, I'm not even sure if I want to commute with the Super 73 into work, knowing how tight that bike room is and how little space we have to navigate. So it's going to be one of those, I'm not sure how we're going to handle it, but I'm going to have to do it one of these weekends to see if we can get it into the bike room. The last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the power and the acceleration. I've spoken about this plenty of times in other videos, and I did not have to give up that much torque or power in order to have the smaller size. And you know what? I don't really need the extra 20 miles an hour. Like, as you can see, even right now doing 15 miles an hour, we're still able to navigate traffic much more efficiently than if I were in my car. And I get it that the 60 plus mile per hour, 70 miles per hour is a great talking point when you're kind of like talking shop with your homies at the meetup, or if you're doing kind of like a group ride. Since most people are still hibernating during the winter, we actually have not even done any group rides. So probably at my next group ride, when people are doing 50, 60, 70 miles an hour and I'm only doing 40, I might miss the speed a little bit more. But even here on this open road, the amount of speed that I have now is honestly plenty, and it allows you to keep up with traffic. So far, performance-wise, extremely happy with the Klima Max. And now that we've finished everything that I've liked about the scooter, 750 miles with something and about 6 months also gives you enough time to really hone in on things that you don't like. And the first thing that I will say is beyond a don't like for me is more of like, I really do find it quite irritating and annoying, and I almost hate it, is the brake sensor issue. Like I said in the first portion of this video, I had the brake sensors changed at 75 miles and I thought that fixed it. Apparently it didn't, because the brake sensor issue resurfaced, and at 500 miles had the brake sensors replaced again, and after about 100 miles or so the brake sensor issue was back. And honestly, it's extremely annoying when it happens to you and you're in the middle of a commute, or it always happens when you're running late and then all of a sudden your scooter just locks up and you're just like, come on, man, now of all times you want to lock up. So it is, yes, extremely annoying, and I get that the solution is quite easy. Just back out the brake sensor. But the thing with that is I currently have the brake sensor backed out, and that means that I have no brake lights on the back. I'm really relying on my brake-free light on the helmet here. But I also understand that I brought this upon myself. This was a known issue with all the first generation Klimas, but yet I still chose the first generation Klima because I like the form factor of the back. So this is a self-inflicted wound here when I chose form over actual function. And yes, it sucks a lot, and yes, I could have prevented it with getting the generation 2 with the taillights, but that's probably something that I'm going to have to do. I'm not sure if that's going to be covered under the warranty, so I haven't really explored that idea yet, because I know they were offering the free upgrades to the generation 1s in order to get them into a safer riding condition, but I knowingly took a Gen 1 and yeah, and chose to purchase one. So we'll see what it goes there. So my two solutions are I have to either, one, switch to the Magura MT5Es, which is going to be a massive upgrade because they're quite expensive, and then the second option is I'm going to have to swap the taillights to the new taillights to kind of add onto the brakes here. I'm also not very happy with the stopping power of the Logan 2-piston hydraulics. They're kind of soft and mushy, and it doesn't stop as quickly as I'd like. That's also one of the other reasons why I thought of upgrading to either the Maguras or switching back to those nut hydraulics that I used to have on the Bernie. So those are kind of up in the air, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with that. So we'll see. There's a lot of things going on right now in New York as far as restrictions and bans, and all of that is going to affect my decision to spend more on my PEVs, or I would say pause my spending for a little bit. So the third thing that I've really disliked about the scooter so far is I'm not sure if it's the front fender or the front design on the scooter. The reason I say that is because it involves the way the water sprays when the roads are wet. When the roads are wet or when it's raining, I do get a lot of spray that comes up onto my legs. So I'm unable to actually wear like any normal trousers to work if there's water on the road. So every time there's any type of moisture on the road, I do have to wear my rain pants and my rain boots, because everything just gets soaked, and I've kind of destroyed a pair of shoes and a pair of trousers already because of that. It's really annoying, but if you have any suggestions on what I can do to, I would say, minimize the amount of spray that I get from the water kicking up from the front, you can leave it in the comments section down below, and I'll definitely try that out. I'm also going to try out some larger, I would say, plastic fenders that you can get on Amazon to just kind of help with the spray, maybe keep it down, but that's the only thing I can think of. I never had that issue on the Burn E. I think maybe it's the wider front part of the Burn E that keeps you more shielded from water. That helps, but yeah, really annoying, and it's been raining quite a bit here in New York City, so it's a lot more obvious. My final thing that I do not like about the scooter is it's not UL certified. I get it. You're speaking to the guy that's that understands that certifications is not the end all be all when it comes to traffic safety and battery safety and any type of things. We all know that it's not the final end all be all solution, but unfortunately in New York City it has become the end all be all solution because it's a nice buzzword that they can throw around and a nice way to kind of make people happy and say, look, we are requiring certifications for anything that is sold in New York City. And honestly, we've known about this for quite a while now, and I just wish that Nami would jump on board and see what it would cost to get these batteries certified, because if you want to continue to do business in New York City and potentially the whole United States in the future, UL certification might be the certification that's necessary for your product to be sold here in New York City. So keep that in mind. It might be worth the investment and a small bump in price, because I would honestly rather have the peace of mind of having a UL certified product and having it, I would say, legally okay in the city versus living in a legal gray area. And when I bought the scooter, they weren't necessarily going so hard about it, honestly, but nowadays, because of a few accidents and a few deaths and a few more fires, we're starting to see more and more action being taken by New York City as far as bans. Right now, if my building decides to say, hey, is that UL certified, there's no literature on the scooter that specifically says that it's UL certified. So another headache there, but that is pretty much just going to be what it's like to own a PEV now in New York City. With all of that out the way, those are kind of like my likes, don't likes, and what I've had to do with the scooter so far. And before I start my final thoughts here, I just want to say, if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, as it really helps out the channel. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the video, or if you just want to say hi. You know, I get back to all of my comments, so just feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you like my content, there is a icon here somewhere on the bottom right of the screen that you can click on. It's my logo. It'll allow you to subscribe to the channel, but just be sure to turn on the bell notification so that I can notify you anytime a video comes out. With all that said, these are my final thoughts about the scooter. The pros of the scooter definitely far outweigh the cons that I mentioned in this video. Those are things that I believe that people should think about, because honestly, with the way technology is, there is no perfect scooter yet. in the future, when we're doing maybe solid state batteries, and we're having ultra efficient, ultra reliable scooters that go out and about, and they're safe, they're fast, they're I would say cheaper, it's going to create the perfect scooter. But currently it doesn't really exist yet. But is the Klima close to perfect? Yeah, it's pretty up there. It's pretty close, but I'm not gonna say it's perfect. If I got the Klima Max Generation 2 with the with the proper taillights, like I should have, instead of choosing form over function again, we would have definitely been a lot closer to that perfect high performance commuter scooter than we did with the Generation 1 scooter that we have here. And finally, the question always comes down to is, Ivan, knowing what you know now and having the 750 miles in 6 months under your belt with the Nami Klima Max, would you do it again? And honestly, my answer still is yes. I really do love this thing. It's become my go-to everyday PEV, and I really, really enjoy riding it. If you are thinking about picking one up, test ride it, get hands-on with it, and if you like it and you like the performance and you like the way it rides, buy it. You're not going to regret it. Just be aware of some of the things that I spoke about in this video, and hopefully you found this helpful. And thank you for joining me on this ride. I really do appreciate y'all. Remember, ride safe out there. It's pretty crazy. Always wear your safety gear, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out, y'all.